I have literally never done a video where I did not run out of space on my phone while I was recording. It's never happened. So I put my label on the front side of my closure piece, that's the front, and here's the side, the back side with the snap marking and the line. I'm going to use my seam ripper to go ahead and slit those snap slits and stick the snap. Whoop, don't lose my seam ripper there. Stick the snap. Oh my gosh. Stick the snap in the front like that. I'm gonna do the same thing on my little scrap piece of Decovil Heavy. There we go. All right, I'm gonna put that down. And then I'm gonna put my washer down. Can you see what I'm doing? Yes. Okay. And then I'm going to install my snap. And now we're ready to sew this together, but I need to change the thread in my machine. Okay, here you go. I'm going to use this to cut my line, cut just below my line. Doesn't have to be perfect. And then these to trim around the seam. Use something like this to smooth out those curves if we can. Okay. Okay. All right, so there you have that piece. Now you're going to just, you could do this now or later, but I'm just gonna fold up my bottom piece and hold it in place there for when I place it on my bag. I'm just using some leather tape to make this part easy. I'm folding the top handle into 3 layers so that it's a 1-inch handle. So I'm gonna fold this side in 1 inch. And once this is finished, I will fold the other side over top of that, and we'll have a 1-inch handle. Now I'm putting the D-rings on each side. I'm folding the short end over about 1.25 inches on both ends. And then I'll take this to the sewing machine and just sew around. Okay, so there's my handle, ready to be put on the flap when it's time. So we have these two things now. I'm gonna set them aside and I'm gonna take out my flap. So I have my flap here and I have my stabilizer here, and I'm going to set this stabilizer centered as much as I can. And then about 3/4 of an inch down from the top. That looks good. And you can use a pressing cloth at this point to, this is, mine is fusible. And you can use like low heat and a pressing cloth if you want to make this stick. You probably should. I don't. Yeah, I just don't. Okay, and then I find my slits, which is actually hard to do in this one because of the vinyl. But I'm gonna slit through my slits. That I made earlier, right? And I'm gonna put the female. The female snap. And while I'm here, I'm just gonna attach the handle. 3/4 of an inch down and an inch in. And I'm just getting ready to sew my boxes around each end of the handle. And as I start this, what you'll see is I'm gonna grab a piece of scrap waterproof canvas as I turn and go along the side because I don't wanna muff up my vinyl with the back of my, the presser foot, because the vinyl gets lifted up by the D-ring. So that's what I'm doing with that scrap of waterproof canvas. So I've got a box on one side, I'm turning it around and measuring and setting the other side, and I'm just going to do the same thing. A box starting across the D-ring, and then I am turning, I'm using the scrap just so I don't hit the vinyl with that foot, and going around. Okay, so there you have that. All right. And now I'm gonna put a couple rivets in. Rivets are in, that's done. Most of this is gonna end up being voiceover. I apologize now, but I will be interrupted a lot. Okay, so this is my lining piece. This is the wrong side, this is the right side. We're gonna put the right side against the right side of our outer piece, and we're going to smush this handle down. And I know it feels off. It's like, oh, should I do that? It'll be okay. Match the center seams up, or not the seams, the center markings up, I should say. Match the center markings up, and then pin around the entire thing. Get ready to sew. Oh, don't forget, push that way, push that way, okay? That's very important. Okay, and I'm just going to trim around the seam with my pinking shears, just like we did on the front closure piece. And now I'm going to turn it, just like we did for the closure piece, and get ready to top stitch. Okay, now this isn't in the pattern and it's not necessary, but sometimes it's helpful to baste the opening shut now. Just make sure that you don't lose your marking for the center that's on the top there. But as long as you can see that, go ahead and baste this shut, and that'll just make attaching it easier later on. Okay, your flap is done. We're gonna set this aside.